here is singer-songwriter, broadcaster, audio-video artist, entertainment agent, and your host for the Dharmic Evolution. It's the master storyteller himself, James Kevin O'Connor.
And welcome back once again, ladies and gentlemen, to the Dharmic Evolution. Yeah, we got a surprise for you today. We're going up to Vermont. Yes, up in the autumn, beautiful countryside with the leaves turning, and it's apple picking season here in the Northeast. So we got a rock and roller here, and he signed with Pacific Records out of SanDiego last year and continues to make his positive style of music all over the world. His latest recording is Stop the World on Pacific Records and features a 10-piece band, 4 horns, bass, drums, 2 guitars, mandolin, pedal steel, and congas. He's worked with amazing producers such as John Elijah, Anthony Resta, and Charlie Midnight. You may know some of the people that these producers have worked with: John Mayer, Dave Matthews, OAR, Shawn Mullins, Duran Duran, James Brown, and Joe Cocker, and the Doobie Brothers. He shared the stage with every PHISH member: Warren Haynes of the Allman Brothers, Blues Traveller, Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top, and on and on. You better strap up your seatbelts, because we're going for a ride with Chad Hollister.
Are you a singer-songwriter, author, speaker, or thought leader? Have you been looking for a platform for your career? Well, the James O'Connor Agency has exactly what you are looking for. Find out how we write and produce big, amazing songs on Music Row for authors, speakers, thought leaders, and organizations like non-profit and corporations. We also help singer-songwriters and artists by giving them a platform on Dharmic Evolution, a podcast designed specifically to broadcast your global career, now in 71 countries and with more than 161 episodes of artists all over the world from all genres. We know how to reach your target audience. Are you a dreamer like James? Then reach out today to James at thejamesoconnораgency.com and find out how we can help your global career.
Chad, welcome to the Dharmic Evolution, my friend.
Woo! It's good to be here. I feel like Superman.
There we go, the rock and roller, and we're going to start off today with, when we get to the music, we're just really shortly with a song that was inspired by your son, which I'm always excited when I hear somebody write that, because I've done that too, and it's so special. So tell me, you're from Vermont, man, and before we go, congratulations on Stop the World and your new latest deal with Pacific Records.
Thank you. It's been a great way to have somebody other than myself and my band members get the music out there. So they're, we're trying to do it every way we can, and every in the music biz, you can well attest, after all your many stories you've been telling, it's a long road, and it's a lot of work when you're trying to do it on your own. So it's nice to have help.
Yeah, it's one of the most I think it's, in some ways, it's very thankless. However, in many ways, it's also a blessing. So that dichotomy is always a little bit odd for us to figure out, because it's like, why would somebody kill themselves like this to be in this business? Yet, it's hard to emulate to somebody what that feeling is like when you step on a stage, or that somebody comes up to you and say, man, you influenced me in such a way, and you lifted me up out of something I was going through. And you've had many of those experiences, so you know what that's about. Yeah,
and I think the lifted me up, one of my favorite things to hear is that you've inspired me. I can't get enough of that, because that's what we do. And like you say, the thankless, it's hard to explain that feeling of getting up on stage if it's not what you do. But then the inspiration, when that comes through, especially I've been doing some songwriting workshops with kids and watching these kids that do not identify in the, whether it be mathematics or science way, but as soon as you hit them with, them writing their own song and taking the ownership of it, the explosion that goes on in their head is amazing. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, my son is doing the same thing. He's been doing that for about 6 years. He was a music major at Oneonta, and in addition to being a singer-songwriter in Austin, he's teaching kids all the time, and he's doing that again out there. So I know the feeling you get vicariously through his stories. I've experienced that in that way, and that's just such a great thing to do, to bring kids into that world, to share this beautiful experience. So let me ask you about your past heroes and mentors and people that influenced you and helped you to create the Chad Hollister sound. Like, was it as a teenager, Chad, or when did you start, and who was it that that really got into your mind and soul to start formulating who you are?
Well, it's a funny story in that when I started playing drums when I was a kid, so drums was kind of my roots. And I remember in second grade, I convinced Mrs. Croto at the Shelburne Village School to let me bring in my drum kit so that I could play. And I played, and I came and I played over Kiss's Rock and Roll Over. So I was there playing drums on top of Kiss. From then, when I went to middle school, there was this show that was Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley. And I also convinced the teacher to let me come in and play drums. So there was a piano player, me on drums, and then the whole chorus. And those were kind of my beginnings of performing and getting it out there. But in terms of music, Stuart Copeland and the Police were my roots, as well as Paul Simon, too. I've always just loved his songwriting, his approach, and his bringing in the South African, the different influences is something that I love. And as we've talked about the song about my son, BODI, he's got that reggae thing, and I love the rock, I love the reggae, I love the funk, and it's kind of all infused into my style thanks to all those guys, from Stuart Copeland to Bob Marley to Paul Simon.
Yeah, let's just give everybody a slice, and this is BODI. Check this one out.
Sky blue eyes.
Yeah, I love the little scat singing at the end there. That is very, very cool. BODI. Hey, nice horns. I love the guitar solo. Very textured with the wah, into the horns on your bridge. Really, really cool. And can you take us into the inspiration? Obviously, we know the inspiration, but when you wrote it, do you remember like some details about like what was going through your mind when you wrote this for your son?
Well, he's just such a his sister, to give you a little precursor, his sister is 2 years older. So his sister is Riley Odelia, which was a song on the previous record. And so she always had her song, and people were always asking, when are you going to write Bodie a song? And even Bodie's like, Dad, where's my song? And so when it came about, it was just realizing he's so cool. He loves to dance. And that's kind of one of his things is hip hop and modern dance of late. And so it just kind of came about as his personality and what he kind of brings to the world. And so that's what I wrote about.
Awesome. Yeah, and I love the like the arrangements. How do you put your arrangements together? Because rock and horns have always been so cool. And do you layer the horns after you've gotten the basic structure down, or does it all come to you at once? How do you build your songs and put them together?
That's a great question, and it's always different. But this one was specifically written with horns in mind. Other songs from my past catalog, the horns came about 6 years ago. And there were a lot of songs that didn't have any horns that I got together. Our horn leader is Chris Peterman, amazing sax player, tenor sax, tenor and soprano and so on. And he and I get together and basically write the parts if they haven't been written, or we write them together. And then the songs, we try and not have them get to be too lengthy, so we want to be concise about it, and kind of get in, get out. Obviously the live show will take it out a little bit more, but in terms of the arrangements, it's pretty specific to have the horn lines and occasionally have a solo section. But that's something that we do together with Chris and myself.
Yeah, I wanted to comment on that. Anytime you see somebody writing a song that's under 4 minutes, complete with horns, complete with great choruses and a bridge, and I take my Brian Wilson hat off to you, because he's the model I always use, because Brian was the guy who could get into he's in the chorus in 15 seconds, and sometimes the whole song is it's just a chorus with a few scattered verses, but that thing stays with you, and that's a hard thing to do. It's not easy to write really good music and keep it short.
Yeah, well, and what's cool is my buddy Keith Hubacher is on bass right now with the Beach Boys.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah,
oh, awesome.
Obviously, sans Brian, but they're keeping it alive. But yeah, I mean, what a huge compliment. Thank you so much. And I think that's always the challenge. And I'm always working, and I'm sure you are as a singer-songwriter, to just get better all the time and not be so preachy, but to bring about a positive message. I think right now more than ever in this world, we need music and we need positivity, because there's so much going on to deter us from that. But I feel that if we stay positive and continue to deliver that message through music, I think the world can be better, as utopic as it may sound. It's a heartfelt dream of mine, So.
No, and it's it's a valuable dream, because one of the most infatuating things about this career is you never arrive, which is such a blessing from God, because if you arrived, it would be all over. It's right. To your point, I want to get better on every level of, my singing, my songwriting, my playing, whatever it is that you're good at. You might be a good production guy, or this woman might be the greatest, arrangement person, but whatever your tool shed has, you want to keep sharpening and be the best you can each and every time. So I think every time we get a chance to step up to the plate, it's just a wonderful opportunity,
Yeah, we're always continuing to make that Reese's peanut butter cup.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk a little bit about, I want to talk about this tour you did with your wife and kids. This is awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you went 6 months out on the road, and first of all, God bless you for embracing that experience. And many people just never do that for whatever reason. But the fact that you did it, and can you share some highlights and some memories of that tour and how it was?
Well, first of all, God bless my wife, Katie, she's just the best, and we've been married for 14 years now, and she's incredible. And to bring me these two children, Riley and Bodie, has been a huge gift. So we'd been planning this for years, and knew that it was something that we wanted to do. And we also planned the ages, because Katie specifically remembers the nightmare of 7th grade for her in growing up. And so when Riley went to the beginning of 7th grade, and Bodie was in 5th grade, and so they both did the beginning of 5th and beginning of 7th, and then in January is when we took off for the second half. And so they were at those ages where mom and dad are not quite losers yet. Even though I'm a rock and roller, man, I'm not a cool guy. They love me and everything, but it's not like, wow, Dad's a rock and roller. He's really cool. But so the timing was really specific, and also just a lot of thought went into it about when we did it in terms of the kids' ages, and it was great. In terms of highlights, we were blown away by Yellowstone National Park.
Yeah.
And the fact that when you live on the East Coast, I personally, I'm not going to speak for anybody else, but had no idea that it was on a volcano.
Yeah.
It's on a volcano. Like, what? And these blue pools that look so inviting. Don't jump in the pool, James.
Yeah.
So the volcanic element of that, and of the Pacific Northwest, in Oregon, wherever you look, these mountains, these hills are used to all be volcanoes.
Yeah, it's one of the largest ones in the world, the magma. It's scary to watch what's going on under that,
It is scary. Well, just to think at any moment, if that were to blow, it would be over, but not to add the dark element to the dharmic world here.
Yeah.
But so the Pacific Northwest, I loved it. I really loved Washington. We went to the most northwestern tip with the Makah Indian tribe in Nia Bay, and that was just a real highlight. And I think in general, a highlight was the Native Americans in our country, and trying to understand a little bit more what happened to them, because the story has not been told. It's not in our history. There should be a Native American history month in school every year. It's just not done. And there was a real heartbreaking element seeing these reservations that are not flourishing. They're not, of course, sometimes you see the casinos and realize that that's what they were able to do, and I think that's great. A little bit of retribution, but with the reservations, it's hard to take sometimes. I really, and the kids had a real hard time with it too. So that was a real big lesson for all of us.
Yeah, I've always had such a big place in my heart for what happened to the American Indian. I agree with you. It hasn't been this, like they were just completely decimated, and there was so much for us to learn from the way they revered the land and the spiritual side of their heritage and their culture. But it was just kind of like pushed aside and trampled on and completely decimated. So thanks for sharing that. That is really great. Hey, I think we got to play another one. Here is the song Here and Now.
When people talk about living in the moment, I've been thinking about living in the day. I can't stop but think about tomorrow. Yeah, yeah. Walk these roads, I can feel it in my body. Try to take it day by day. The sun is up, she's warming my face today. Learn to laugh with my reflection. I won't lose sleep and I won't lay down. Shoes will cut a fine direction to you now. To smile, but it ends up in a frown. I try to eat, but I can't get it down. I just want to live the here and now, here, now. Feeling old and a little bit tattered. I want to inspire and not get shattered. I gotta speak my mind, you know it matters, no. It matters. Learn to laugh with my reflection. I won't lose sleep, then I won't lay down. Shoes will cut a fine direction to here and now. Here and now, oh, here and now, yeah. Walking backwards, I've been swimming upstream, letting those waters get the best of me. In this ocean, I gotta learn to breathe, breathe. I learn to laugh with my reflection. I won't lose sleep and I won't lay down. Shoes will cut a fine direction to here now. Learn to laugh with my reflection. I won't lose sleep and I won't lay down. Shoes will cut a fine direction to here now.
Here and now. Great bridge. Shifting time signature in the middle of that. You threw a surprise there. Really, really cool. Can we talk a little bit about production on this and who is producing this particular one, Chad?
So the whole record was produced by myself and Danny Bernini.
Oh, nice.
And Danny's done he's done a lot of work with with Ryan Montbleu, and he's done a lot of wonderful stuff. Back in the day, he worked with Acoustic Junction, and just a really great guy, and somebody who I've worked with a lot of great producers in my career. But the thing that was great about Danny is that he was not like, "Hey kid, we're gonna make you a star," and try and change you into his vision of me.
Yeah.
He wanted to just bring out the best of Chad Hollister, and I feel he did a great job. And so a lot of the production stuff was us together, but was him with he's the engineer as well, and as you know, that combo can sometimes get in the way, and interfere with the process, but with Danny it definitely did not. And we were also I was living in the studio. We would stay there, so we would be there for multiple days, and so we would not have the craziness of having to order food. Like, we ate at the house, so when it was lunchtime, we would come out and all our lunch would be ready, and we would take a half hour, eat, and then right back in. And I think there was something to be said for that.
That's a great, if I may interject, that is a great way to do it. I mean, you're removing all the distractions to just laser focus on the project, which is great. Most people don't do that. They get a little off kilter, and I don't know what the right way to do it is, but I would just almost cut off. I would cut off half a fingernail to have that experience.
Yeah, careful.
Yeah, because that would be great. I mean, it would be just like there's no opportunity for anything to get me off of my groove here, and it's like paying attention. So did you find that it really enhanced this experience?
Totally. I mean, so the Spirit House recording takes place in Paul McDonald's house. So it's Paul's house, and Danny's the engineer, and they pair up to become Spirit House. And it definitely helped because, you've got menus flying around. What do you want? And then you got to wait for the delivery to arrive, and you're thinking about food instead of, we would wake up in the morning and Paul would say, what time do you want lunch? What time do you want dinner? Sometimes we'd be going later, and so whatever, dinner would get pushed. But when we came out, it was all ready, and it definitely helps. And being in a home setting too, I love that.
Yeah.
You walk out and there's a grand piano, there's a living room, there's a kitchen, there's a, coffee, tea, just all waiting for you, which is really helpful without being crazy expensive. I mean, I have to say it wasn't,
Yeah. And you probably get to the more valuable conversations that you can kind of dig into, which always lead to the best songs, rather than just surface chat about whatever, with the TV on in the bar. And who needs that floating around in your head when you're trying to write good music?
It doesn't. Yeah, I don't know. Stay away. Keep that away from me.
Yeah. And so you've also, Chad, you've and forgive me, I'm going fast because I could probably talk to you for hours, man. But you've shared the stage with some pretty big players. So can you share some of the high moments of being on stage with some of these, legends who have been playing for a long time?
Yeah, I mean, we were really blessed. There was a gal who was a fan down in West Palm Beach, and so through her name was Laura, and we were able. She was managing the Coral Sky Amphitheater down there. So through that, we got to do the Bob Dylan, Paul Simon opener, and then and Tom Petty as well. And so those two were just incredible to be, especially Petty, be in Florida. In his home nook and get to support him. That was really, really great. And then the Bob Dylan, Paul Simon one was great too, because we got to, we were backstage hanging with the Brecker brothers, who's, Paul's one of the most famous horn sections,
Yeah.
And sitting there talking to them, and my hero, Steve Gadd, who I had met coincidentally a month prior or 2 months prior on Martha's Vineyard, he was hanging with Carly Simon. And it sounds like I'm Mr. Name Dropper here, but all of a sudden they were in front of me, and we realized we were going to be on the same gig. And he's like, "Oh, I'll see you down there. I'm playing with Paul." So all of a sudden we were, me and Steve Gadd, my drumming hero, were, going to be hanging together. So I was talking to all those guys, and Alan Malay was on keyboards, and I had met him in the airport. And all of a sudden Paul walks out of the dressing room and just stands there for a good 10 minutes because we were all talking. And then I just looked over and said, "Hey, Paul." And we just chatted for another 20 minutes, and he complimented us on our sound check, and just hung out. So that was definitely a huge highlight. And then other rockers like, Warren Haynes is one of the nicest guys. I got to open for him, and then he invited me up on stage to play congas with him. And he's such a gentleman. The Blues Traveller guys, getting to jam with those guys. John Popper introduced me as Chad Hollister of Blood, Sweat, and Tears. I don't really know where it came from, but Popper. And then after the show, there was this girl who one of the roadies comes and says, "There's this girl that wants to meet you." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Yeah. So she comes back and she's like, "I don't recognize you, but my uncle plays with Blood, Sweat, and Tears." I was like, "Oh, that was just Johnny joking around." And so, anyway,
nice covering for him like that.
Yeah, but those are some highlights, I'd say.
Yeah, and Steve Gadd with the song Asia goes down in drumming history. I mean, that is like it's just from another planet. That was just incredible. I mean, talk about artistic perfection. I mean, not that there is anything like that, but man, that was just, you can never hear that song enough just because of the drums.
Yeah, or fast forward to Paul Simon's Late in the Evening and his two-stick.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean,
he's just incredible. Hey, speaking of incredible, it's time to play Eyes. Here we go. Check this out.
All right.
Care to know me, it's best to look at me. That I can see into those eyes and how they came to be. If you're always staring at that fancy screen below, you can miss what life is, that moment lost so sure. I've seen it in the cities and I've seen it in the hills. I can't help but thinking back when time we had to fill. Biking down my dirt road, jumping off hay bales way up high, skating on the black ice as the fish did pass me by. Show me your eyes before we say goodbye. Never said hello. Just look at me before you go. That I don't want you to miss, like the eagle's nest upon the ledge or the morning mountain mist, the geese flying in the V that follow in the sun, or the smile from across the room that says that you're the one, you're the. Show me your eyes before we say goodbye. Never said hello. Are just words, you see. I pray they sink in eventually.
Sharing the stage with Bob Dylan, Tom Petty, and Paul Simon? Let's get right back to my interview with Chad Hollister right after this.
Have you connected with your gratitude today? I think I have something that will help inspire you. It's the brand new release from James Kevin O'Connor. Gratitude, recorded on Music Row in Nashville, Tennessee with producer Kim Copeland and team, is James' third full-length album in 4 years. 10 amazing songs, each one a different story about the emotions, journeys and experiences that you and I have lived. Songs like Dreamer, Jesus Teaches, Tango On and 51 Shades of Grey, and of course, the title track, gratitude. Pick up the brand new CD today with amazing artwork and photography at iTunes, CD Baby, and Amazon. Or simply go to jameskevino'connor.com for your download right now. Send someone that you love a copy of gratitude today. It might be exactly what they need in their life right now. Gratitude, the new release by James Kevin O'Connor.
Eyes, man, I feel it's happy. The nature scenes using as a metaphor, and look at me before you go. What a great song, man. Just you captured a mood there, which is really great.
Well, I think so much of our world these days is spent, like this, or
Yes.
head down,
I'm with
and
you,
kind
man.
and kind of missing that moment, and that's where the whole song comes from, is that whole vibe of not wanting people to miss that, because it's so easy to, miss the beautiful mountains or this beautiful guy, beautiful girl, just beautiful moment in your life by feeling the immediacy to get back to somebody or to respond. I have to, I mean, remember back in the day, man, somebody called your house, and if you weren't there, they called back later.
Yeah.
It's like
yeah, no, the latest thing, though, is, Chad, and you've experienced this, too, is the robocalls have, this just exacerbated a problem that was already there, which is you can't really get people on the phone anymore because people don't want to get phone calls, especially the younger kids, the millennials, and people who are like, they don't call, man. They don't want to call,
text.
and they text,
Yeah.
and that's it. And now I find myself not answering my phone because the robocalls are such a distraction, and I wait for either a voicemail or if I recognize the number, I'll call them back. But it seems to be like I'm feeling like the phone companies are going to be eventually out of business as traditional phone companies, that we once knew.
Well, it's that the new world too, where we live in a place where service is not great, so we still have our landline for local stuff, and because the cells aren't crazy reliable up here.
Yeah.
But we have so many people who have just, like you say, who have done away with their home phone. So I think you're not far off.
Things are changing. Hey, I wanted to talk about you. I want to congratulate you on two things. Breathe, another track of yours. It was from a 9/11 soundtrack. Stop the World. Is that correct?
So it went on the soundtrack for the movie 9/11. That of course was about the day.
Awesome! Congratulations. That's really fabulous.
Yep. So kind of longtime friend and one of my old producers, Martin Gigi, directed the movie, and so we got lucky and got onto the soundtrack for that. And it was
that's fabulous. And also, I want to congratulate you on. You played live at Pandora. You were the first band on Pandora 18 years ago. Man, that is really killer. So how did that happen?
Well, it's a great story. So back in the beginning of Pandora, they were just anxious to have any kind of content. And so the guys in the beginning were like, listen, if you've got a band, if your friend's got a band, whatever it is. And Bob Coons, who was our guitarist at the time, toured with the Jerry Garcia band, with the JGB post-Jerry, so the Melvin Seals band, but they're calling it the JGB now. And he was an analyst, still is to this day, and he's the one that performed with me. So it's kind of cool. So he got us into the catalog with my early records. And then fast forward 18 years later, we're touring in Oakland, and they have us up, and the president is introducing us as one of their first bands with the very first analyst, Bob Coons, who's playing with me. So it was this really cool full circle thing.
That's amazing. And they've built that brand up to, I think they're at 70 million users now.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And I had, at that point, when we were there, I think it might have been like in April, I had two stations. So I had Chad Hollister Band and I had Chad Hollister. And I was in the, there's 3 floors in Oakland of Pandora. Each floor has a different thing. And I was on the technical floor, and Bob said, "Oh, this is Pete." And I'm like, "Oh, hey, Pete, what's up?" And he said, "Pete, Chad's got 2 stations. Is it possible to combine them?" And he's like, "Oh, hold on one sec. Yep, there you go." And it was like, whoa. So all my listeners came together, and I had 1 station because it didn't make sense to have 2. But what an amazing group of people. There's guitars hanging around all over the place, and just a really cool vibe in there. So it was an honor to get to bring it full circle for them, but just to get to play and have them hear one of their artists.
Yeah. That is amazing.
Yeah.
And I think what you must have done is you stopped the world on that day. Here we go. Stop the world.
Stop the world, because I wanna get off. Because this moment is too good to be true. I'm gonna save her, and I'm gonna love everything that you feed me. So don't you stop, Lord, till I am through. It's hard to believe all these years have gone by, and everything that we've been through. As I sit with you 5 and the 18 that you created, well, this family cannot be debated. So stop the world, because I wanna get off. Because this moment is just too good to be true. I'm gonna save her, and I'm gonna love everything that you feed me. So don't you stop, Lord, until I am through. The laughter we share almost every day, it keeps me young, and it keeps me thinking of you. Keep on laughing till you feel that sweet belly pain, and that good love and ache will remind us of this day. So Lord, stop the world, 'cause I wanna get off. 'Cause this moment is just too good to be true. I'm gonna save her, and I'm gonna love everything that you feed me. So don't you stop, Lord, until I am through. Come on, Benz. The laughter we share almost every day, it keeps me thinking this way. Stop the world, 'cause I wanna get off. 'Cause this moment is just too good to be true. I'm gonna save her, I'm gonna love everything that you feed me. So don't you stop, Lord, till I am through. Oh, don't you stop, Lord, till I am through. Oh, child, don't you stop, Lord, till I am through.
All right, Stop the World, man. This was just a great song. Give us the highlights for you creating this, going in the studio. What about this song that really stands out in your mind? Any particular, while you were recording it, while you were writing it?
Well, it couldn't get any more specific than being for my mom.
Okay.
My mom is 86 years young, and she has, I am the youngest of 5 kids, and she has 18 grandchildren, of which my kids, Riley and Bodie, are 17 and 18. That's the end of the roll there.
Yeah.
And she, whenever she's having one of those moments that she doesn't want to forget, we grew up with the term, "Oh, stop the world, I want to get off." And so we would always, my brother and I would always make fun of her, like, here goes mom, stop the world. And then, growing up and starting to have kids myself, and, my brother and sisters having kids, being Uncle Chad, started to have those stop the world moments myself. So I decided to kind of immortalize it in song. And when actually I wrote it years ago for Mom's 80th birthday, and then it went on the record. So it's a really special one that I always, she knows every word and sings it. Is at a lot of our live shows. We do an amazing show. We've done it for the past 5 years. This is our 6th year at the Spruce Peak Performing Arts Center in Stowe. And she's always there in her box seat, cheering us on. But that's a song for Mom, very clearly.
That is amazing, man. Congratulations on that. I know we have a lot of commonality. Big family on this end, a lot of grandchildren. My mom just hit 88 last week. So yeah, so they're alive and kicking, man.
Happy birthday,
yeah. Mom. Hey, let me ask you about that. I'm excited about this, playing a lot of house concerts. That, it's such an intimate and just, a wonderful setting. So can you share some of the moments, like your favorite moments playing house concerts, and how it is for people who've never heard of it?
Yeah, well, it's been huge in the folk world forever. And
Yeah.
I've just started to, like a lot of my friends, adopt it into the rock and roll world. And for us, so many times we come in, we get into a city, and we set up, sound check, eat, do the gig, pack up, go to the hotel, go to sleep, and it's this redundant thing, and you don't really get to connect with the people, with your fans. So the beautiful thing about the house concert is you're in a much more comfortable setting. You're not in a bar that smells like beer and whatever, and you get to hang, and these people get to know you. I take more time with explaining where the songs come from. And sometimes I do that in the live show too, at my solo or duo shows.
Yeah.
But it's just a beautiful connection to have with your fans. And the experience for the fans and the artist is just, a million times better. You ask for highlights, playing for John Verbuckle in West Palm Beach, in Palm Beach, was just amazing, in his backyard and his whole kind of group of friends there, to playing out in Boulder, Colorado, for good friend Jim Warner, in his backyard in Boulder, to all of his paddle tennis friends. We did 2 parties, one of his paddle friends group, and then for his other friends. And he's an amazing human with an amazing group of friends. And so just getting to connect with all those people was really, really awesome. And I think that's one of my focuses really for the rest of my career, is to certainly, I do the clubs are a blast, but I could literally do house concerts for the rest of my life. So
I had an artist on. Yeah, that's just awesome. I had an artist on a while back, and he was a Christian artist. He came out of Iraq, I think, and he only had like another year or 2 to go, and he could have gotten like his lifetime, benefits. And he said, "No, I'm really pulled towards this." We're talking about house concerts, and he wouldn't charge. And I said, "You need to charge," and the reason is because when somebody comes to see you, that's a blessing for them. They want to pay for that CD. And to your point, Chad, it's like, You know, they're there for that experience, and they value it more because they want to give you something. You know, they want to participate in your world, you know. So he said, I think I'm going to do that on the next gig, you know. So I got to check back with him and see if he did. But
yeah, for the people that always that wonder, because so many people, and it's nice to be talking about it, have no idea that it exists.
Yeah.
You know, like, what, you'll come to my house? You know what I mean? And I'm like, yes, I will. But a really good mold is 20 at 20. You know, so you got 20 folks at $20, because I think that the misnomer is that the hosts always feel that they have to pay for it all. And so literally, if you are providing the house, everybody brings what they want to drink. Even you could turn it into a potluck. Everybody brings a dish. Yeah. And for each person, it's $20. So 20 at 20 is a real simple marketing way that I've kind of got a little knack for marketing too, as do you, my friend. But that's a great way, if you do talk to them again, to just say, hey, and then if they can't, they're like, oh, well, we can only come up with 250. Like, okay, you know, then let's, we'll do 20, 25 at 10, you know, and so it's fine.
But I know a lot of the people that do these, they've turned this into a little cottage industry, and they love it because it's like, we're excited because this is better entertainment than spending like 3 times this to go out to wherever, to another show, you know? So it's such an intimate, wonderful, warm experience. And then you get to connect to that artist for life, which is wonderful, you know?
Exactly. And that is really it. I mean, a lot of times people think that, you know, us as musicians, that we're rock stars, and certainly there are people in the business that want to be treated with kid gloves and that are rock stars. But most of us are really just normal people who love to connect and talk about our songs, our craft, and share it. I mean, that's why, you know, it's I think one of the biggest things that I know you get, as I was reading about you before this show, is, and I wanted to make sure that I said it in your show, is that music is a gift, and it is an amazing thing to be able to share, and it should never ever be taken for granted, that gift to be able to share, because it's what we do, you know. You not only do it yourself, but you bring people's stories like mine, and I thank you for that, to the world, because so many people will never know of who Chad Hollister is, but thanks to you, you know, thousands more people will, and that's the true gift, is for people to be able to know, first of all, to be able to do my music and do it for a living and support my family and not have to be away 300 days a year. You know, I could do these wonderful interviews. I'm in my home studio. This is my where I create, you know, as I see you do too. But it's a gift, and I think when that we always hit the stage with that in mind, and you always get off the stage with that in mind. People feel that, and I think that's really, really important, because if you start to take it for granted or get into music for the wrong reasons, whatever they may be, you're done. Yeah, it's not easy. You know, it's not easy for anybody, for the artist, for the family of the artist, for you know. So it's a lot of work what we all do, so that when you do understand that it's a true gift, I think it makes a big difference.
Yeah. Well, we certainly, and I thank you for the kind words. It sounds like we occupy parallel paradigms, my friend. Yes. Hey, let me ask you, as we're wrapping up here, I just wanted to cover social media and ask you, like, what are your favorite platforms? Are you on it a lot? Or like, what do you follow, and what is your favorite jam?
So I have 2 favorite jams. I use Facebook a lot just because there's a lot of people. I have my personal page that's at about the cap off of 5,000. But then on the band page, I've got about 3,500 fans on there. And so I use that medium a lot because it works. And then I'm also just a fan of Instagram. I love the simplicity of it. I like posting pictures with a little tagline, and that's it, you know, without having to go into, you know, so much stuff, you know, explanations or whatever. Just let the picture speak with a little line of where it is. And Facebook and Instagram are my big ones. I certainly use Twitter, and a little bit of, you know, on the business end, I'll use LinkedIn, a little bit to kind of keep the the business world apprised as to what's happening with the brand of Chad Hollister Band. I think that's another thing, is that I've worked pretty hard on my brand of Chad Hollister and Chad Hollister Band. And we have a lot, we have a big help thanks to that company over there on the West Coast that, by the way, if you're listening, Hollister, you owe me some royalties. You know, you put my last name on every girl's buns in the whole world, so I think they owe me some money.
Really?
No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
Yeah, I got you. No, and I think thanks to those guys, a lot of people think that they've heard of me when it's just because of the Hollister Surf and Sport.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
but anyway, so those are my main ones. But Facebook and Instagram are my favorites, I'd say.
Yeah, they're the big players. I find that musicians are just hands down all over Instagram. You know, it seems to be the platform these days. You know, because I ask everybody, like, what do you follow? Everybody's on that. Chad, this was really, really fun. I'm so happy that Gene introduced us and I got a chance to know all about you and your music and sharing with your family and all the things that you're doing with your career and your life, with the kids, playing the house concerts, the songwriting workshops, all the things that you're doing musical. It's just, you know, a testament to the blessing that God gave you, and I thank you so much for that. So I want to wish you all the luck and success in your career moving forward. Thank you, James. And here's to the Dharmic Evolution. It's an amazing show, and make sure you guys go watch all the other episodes. Don't just watch mine over and over again. But if you want to, you can. No, but truly, thanks for having me on. I really, really appreciate it, and I think we have to meet up sometime. We have to get you to Vermont to do some skiing or something. Absolutely, Chad. I think it'll happen. Peace and blessings, my friend. All right, peace. Thank you. Bodhi. Here and Now, Eyes, and Stop the World. These are the songs of Chad Hollister, and I know Katie, Riley, and Bodhi must be so proud. You can support Chad by going over to chad@chadmusic.com. Also, you can follow him on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Make sure you go over and support all the great music that this man is making. I hope you guys enjoyed this interview today. Man, this was really stacking the cool on every level. All the people he's played with, all the associations he's made. Really, the real deal, Chad Hollister. If you have not as of yet gone over to dharmicevolution.com, go over there and check out both the podcasts and also the blog posts. Every single artist who's ever been on this show is on there with photos, with music, with the show. You can download it. And there is a vault of information and entertainment there for the taking. So stop by dharmicevolution.com, and if you or someone you know has a artist in their midst, are they in the family? Do you know somebody who's really been crushing it with their brand and their music? Well, just head on over to dharmicevolution.com. Go to the guest tab, fill out your assets, drop them in, and we'll see if we can get you a booking on this show. Also, the Facebook community page. Are you guys aware that we have a Dharmic Evolution Facebook community page? Go over there. You can look at other artists, or you can share your content for the whole world to see. A new video, a new song, new photo shoot, a gig perhaps. Go ahead and post it there. We also encourage you to drop in some comments on the page. Let us know how you feel about the show. Are you digging it? Are you having a good time? We'd love to hear it. We look at all the comments and we kind of try to build this show around your wants and wishes. So send in some suggestions. We'd love to hear it. That's it for me today. I'm your host for the Dharmic Evolution, James Kevin O'Connor, singer, songwriter, audio video artist, master storyteller, and international talent agent. So until the next time when we meet again, I'll either see you on the socials or I'll see you from the stage.